And so Judah had a golden age was when Uzziah was there, and now it was slipping away. And as it was slipping away, no human leader appeared on the scene to reverse that. So what happened? The prophets turned back to God himself. The prophets started seeking the face of the Lord. Isaiah started seeking the face of the Lord with worship, with crying and travailing and interceding, as we are going to see. Now, what happened then? During that time, during Isaiah's final years of isolation, because he had leprosy, it was this crucial hour that the prophet's attention was turned to God, Isaiah. And so he's trying to turn to him for true sovereignty in the affairs of men and affairs of the backslidden, the Judah that was going down, and Jerusalem. And so this is the time now the Lord came in. And because Isaiah started seeking the face of the Lord, remember Isaiah was also royalty. Isaiah's father was related. They were brothers with the king. So he was royalty. That is why he was always in the palace. Always, even when you see he went to Hezekiah, he went to all these people to prophesy to them, it's because he was also part of the palace. He was royalty, he had royal blood. So it was at this time, critical time, when Isaiah went into worship. Isaiah went into, travailing to the Lord and asking for answers, that now the Lord comes in and shows himself to him. What happened now? We see that a throne, we see the throne. Have you seen when the thrones were put down? The throne high and lifted up. The throne refers to the throne of heaven. We see in Revelation 4:2. And his train refers to the royal robes of the Lord of Almighty. And the seraphim, we know already the seraphim, these are the burning ones. They call them the burning ones. The seraph are the ones that bring the glory down. When you start worshiping in spirit and in truth, they bring the glory of God down. And so the seraph, when they came, these are six-winged angelic creatures, and that continually fly in the presence of God, declaring his holiness. They say, holy, holy. These are six-winged angelic creatures. They always say holy. They are bowing down and saying holy, holy, in a threefold declaration of God's persons. And this may have been taken as the Trinity, suggesting the Trinity of the Holy Spirit and Yeshua, and also of God Most High. That's why they were using it in 3 times, holy, holy, holy. And then we should note that even now, God speaks in plural. I think that's why he even says holy 3 times. If you look here where they want to send Isaiah, look at Isaiah 8, verse 8. And how did they say it? They said, and also I heard a voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send, and who will go for us? You see, he's bringing a plural emphasis there. That means there were 3 of them speaking, who will go on behalf of us. And that's when he said, send me. So here we see something that is awesome. That Isaiah's confession in verse 5. This is what I always use when you're going into the Holy of Holies. I told you man is a tabernacle. We were made like that tabernacle. When we start worship here, we start in the outer court, and that's your body. Then you have to move into your soul. That is what? That is the holy place, the sanctuary, the most holy place. Is then the Holy of Holies. That is your spirit. So when you're worshiping the Lord, you have to come from the holy, the outer court, your body. Get into your soul. How do you get into your soul? When you become convicted. When you look at your background, you have to understand where you come from. This is a time you need to know your background. You need to your families. Where do you come from? How filthy were they? Were there shamans? Were there religious? Were they having all these religions that are becoming abomination today? Catholicism, Islam, whatever. What were they worshiping? Because we know that all of them have returned to idolatry. Every religion, be it Anglican or anything, has gone back because it's called the idols of worshiping the Lord. Christmas, Easter, Lent, all these things, these pagan holidays, festivals. So what happened here? Now let us go deep and see. Now before you go in, you have to be, we see that he says, woe unto me. That word, woe unto me, it is a way of saying I'm dead. I'm condemned. I'm speechless. That is what it says in Hebrew. He was recognizing that he had no excuse about how way he was. He was unclean. Are you understanding this? That's the word in Hebrew, woe. It signifies he's now understanding that he does not deserve even to gather the crumbs under the Lord's table. When you know your background, you cannot justify yourself. A lot of Christians do not care to find about their genealogies, where they come from, because when you start understanding where you come from, you see the filth on your mother's side, you see the filth on your father's side, and you go down and say, Lord, how did you really save me? Are you getting me here? And when you start lamenting on that, it will pull your emotions into another level, because you will know that definitely it was a blessing that God really chose you and called you, because he said, those I draw near you, Yeshua, are the ones, those that my Father draws near me are the ones he has called. So if you are not born again, if you don't know the Lord, then you are not called. Then you are not really, called in, and you are not chosen. That's why some people, you preach to them and they don't change. You preach to them and they don't even want to take it, and they struggle with it. They're not called. They're not chosen. But now then, when you're chosen, you start feeling it and you say, how? Look at the witchcraft in our family. Look at the, incest in our family. Look at everything they do, the traditional rituals they do. Look at this. I am filthy, Lord. That's the level Isaiah reached. Because now he says, his confession here, the rabbinic interpretation says, having seen God in his full glory and his holiness, Isaiah pronounces the prophetic woe upon himself. This was a legal charge, meaning ruined or dead. His self-evaluation. You have to evaluate yourself when you are in worship. So look back and see what the Lord has done for you. Look back and meditate on the many accidents you went through. Look back and see how the Lord saved you from death. You have been through an operation. You've been, maybe something else has happened to you. Sometimes you didn't have food to eat. Sometimes you were desperate and you had no one around you and you felt sad and lonely. Sometimes you really had no friends. Everyone had rejected you. Sometimes, you know what I mean now? You go deep down there and start meditating and lamenting and going deep into, that is within the worship.